Thank you for being here. I am so grateful for your time, and I'm going to ensure that this valuable information will help you grow your business. And today we are talking about networking like a pro. Now, this is just not for network marketers. I'm sure you've heard that term before. But this is for any business, and it's about building relationships. So, whether you're provide a service, have products to sell, or you educate people through coaching or courses or consulting, this is really critical. This is one of those things that can really it can grow your business in the short term pretty quickly, but it's even more important for long-term sustainable growth. Now, networking events are the number one catalyst for business growth, no matter what stage of business you're in. And if you don't have a business yet, or maybe you're just getting started, and even if you've been in business for a while, attending networking events give you a peek into what others are doing, and it will connect you with people who can inspire you. From meeting potential clients to business collaborators, networking skyrockets business growth and your personal connections. It's what we like to call social currency. And it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Now, today, you'll learn the 6 things successful marketers, successful networkers do without fail. And again, when I say networkers, it's really about just building relationships. Now, if you have questions, drop those in the comments and I'll be sure to answer those here live at the end. And if you're watching the replay, comment below and I'll be happy to answer you directly in the comments. My name is Deirdre Harter. I'm a CPA and business strategy coach, and I'm the co-founder of Encore Empire. We host the Empire of Unstoppable Women, and it's a private and free Facebook group of midlife women who are starting or growing their business. And one of the missions of this group is to be a business networking group for unstoppable women so we can lift each other up and find clients, referrals, and joint venture opportunities. Now, next Tuesday on January 26th, we'll be hosting a speed networking event inside our group, and we'll be providing the opportunity to network with other women in our group along with some speed coaching. And that's where we give you some tips on becoming a more successful entrepreneur through relationship marketing. And it's really fun because we give questions. If you've ever been to a networking event or, you're on a Zoom meeting, sometimes it's a little awkward, like, after the pleasantries, you're not quite sure what to talk about. So the way we do it is we give a topic question. And that way you break off into a separate room with 1 or 2 other people. So it's really small. And then you have something to talk about, some, question to spark the conversation. Also, each Saturday we host Spotlight Saturdays, and that's where you have the opportunity to share all about your business via video inside the group. And all of this is designed to get you comfortable with the process of virtual networking. So if you're a woman over 40 starting or growing your business, I invite you to join us, and I'll put the link to the group below when we're finished. So now let's talk about networking, and the first thing I want to cover is the importance of making time for it. Now, we do a lot of social media engaging here on Facebook, but it's also important to take it outside of Facebook. And the way you can do this is you can search for networking events that happen through many places like meetup.com. There's one called networkafterwork.com, and Eventbrite is another one. And even if you're working during the day, a lot of these events are held during the day. And if you can't make it, there's plenty that happen on the weekend or evenings because there are so many people out there who are doing the side hustle thing. And one of the ways to find the right kind of networking event, you want to be sure you're at the right one, is keep a list of keywords around your business or your service or your profession. And you use those when you're searching for events or groups that meet regularly. And this also works for finding your ideal client on social media. So I suggest once you find the right keywords for the business that you have, is you just keep a list of those and you can use those to search. Now, if you find one that you want to attend, and it's during the work day, if you can't make it during the day, here's a couple tips. Because this is what I did. When I started my business, I side hustled for 5 years before I was able to be a full-time entrepreneur to where I could then decide what I wanted to do every day. The first thing is to ask your boss if you can rearrange your lunch break, for example. And I did this a lot. I would have my laptop or my iPad in my car, and if there was something I wanted to attend, some kind of meeting or virtual event, I would just go out to my car during lunch and, hop on and do it right there. Another thing you can do is once or twice a month is take if you get PTO, you can ask to take time off. But what you do is you just say it's a personal appointment, just as if you were going to go to a doctor's appointment. It's your time, so you can use it as you see fit. So what I'm going to talk about next is what to do during the event. If you're new to this sort of thing, or even if you've been to a few, I think these do's and don'ts might help you have a better experience and help make it worth your time. And that's really important because none of us have an excess of time, right? We always have way more to do than we could possibly get done. So it's really important that you get the most value. And the one thing I want you to keep in mind as we're talking about these things is, we hear a lot about, more is better, and, you have to be, you got to have thousands of friends and thousands of people coming to your group. And that might be what you need for a certain kind of strategy, but also keep in mind that quality over quantity is really key. If you are networking so that you can meet your ideal clients and people who you can help, then you really want to max out the people that you meet. In other words, you want to don't just go and collect a whole bunch of names, and don't just go and collect a whole bunch of people in a group. Like, you really want to, it's so much easier to work with people you already have a connection with than to go find new people, right? Okay, so that's just something to kind of keep in mind as we talk about these 6 things. So the first one I want to talk about is do not sell. Now, networking is all about building relationships. And so this is not a place for selling. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because a lot of times we're there because we want to find people we can help and people who will pay for our services or products. But that's not the purpose of what you're doing. This is a little bit longer strategy, and it's not a quick fix. But it's the number one misconception out there that if your business is established or you're trying to figure out what kind to start, then networking is a treasure trove of information for you. Now, why is that? It's because wherever people congregate, you are bound to find your target market. So a suggestion is to have an elevator pitch ready to go. Okay, and this is your 30 to 60 second introduction. And this quickly tells people what you do in a way that they're going to remember it. And this is very important. And you can work this out ahead of time. It's really easy, now that we're all virtual, is, you can have your notes there on your computer to look at. And you can also post things. So you can have this all written out and ready to copy and paste somewhere. Now, everyone's going to ask you what you do. That's like the typical question. Oh, so what do you do? And you want, instead of just telling them what you do, you want to pique their interest and their curiosity and not just state something that's maybe very mundane. So I'm going to give you an example. Instead of saying, I offer my background before I became, or while I was becoming an entrepreneur, I was in public accounting for 25 years. And one of my businesses that I started and ran was accounting services. And so I could have said this, but see how this sounds to you. I offer accounting services to small business owners. Now, it does not really sound exciting. In fact, when people hear the word accounting, they're like, oh, I don't want to think about that right now. So instead of something like that, you say something that grabs their attention and makes you stand out, such as, I take the overwhelm out of business financials and make sure your money's where it's supposed to be when you need it the most. Now that is what gets people's attention, because now you're talking about money, you're talking about, helping them, put it where it's supposed to be. Like, that's something that's much more intriguing. So that's that example. That's how you lead people to ask more questions. They want to know more. And so your goal should not be to get someone to ask your goal is to your goal should be to have somebody ask, well, how do you do that? And again, you need to be ready with an answer in a manner that sets you apart. So here's an example of what I would say when they ask me, how do you do that? I work behind the scenes in your business, keeping track of where your money goes so you can focus on doing what you do best. Now, you'll refine this over time. That it took me a while to get that nailed down. But the important thing is don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Just choose something and then use it and then see what kind of response you get. Be curious about it. It's always an experiment, and don't feel bad if you don't nail it on the first try. It takes some time, but you'll start to see the interest that you're getting out of it and how people are reacting. And then do some brainstorming, like afterwards, write down what you thought, how you think it landed. But don't let it hold you back if you don't have it nailed the first time. You've got to just get started. When we all learned to ride a bike when we were kids, what happened? We fell over, right? But pretty soon we practiced and practiced and we got really good at it. So it's the same thing. Now, when you're first starting out, use this networking event as an investigation. So this is the third key step here. You want to relax and have fun. And if you're telling yourself this is just practice or this is an experiment, I'm like a scientist going into the lab. If you tell yourself that, it takes the pressure off. You don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I only have, one shot at this and I better make it good. This is part of an abundance mindset. And, there are billions of people in the world. There are millions of people you can help, and you can't help all of them. So just remember that if you don't get it exactly like you wanted to on this first shot, you have so many more opportunities. So just keep that in your mind. Now, when you're first getting started with networking events, it's okay to just get a feel for it and observe others. So you can just hang back. Think of it like going to a party and, it's your first time and you're just kind of standing over in the corner with your drink, just kind of watching what's going on. And you're looking for those that seem especially confident and interested and interesting, in how they react. So, you're basically taking notes here, kind of like observing what other people are doing. And you can make mental notes or written notes of what you see that appealed to you and what did not appeal to you. The lady who keeps interrupting everybody and it's all about her. And there's usually at least one at every event. You want to know who is there. So, try to meet as many as you can. And virtually, a lot of times it's structured to where you're, breaking out or you're getting a chance to talk. So you can't meet everybody, but that's okay. And you want to know what they do. Okay, so when you do have the opportunity to start talking with somebody, you want to ask questions and be very interested in what they're doing, and you want to keep them talking about them because that's how you pick up clues. It should be 80% listening and 20% talking, because that when you listen to them and you ask probing and prompting questions, that's how you're going to hear the things that they're talking about that match up to what it is that you do and what you help people with. And you want to be of service to them in some way. So you can make recommendations based on what they tell you, if that's something you can do right on the spot, or you can just make a note of it. And then you can use that for follow-up, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Now, this is something I did when I first got started, and it really worked. It worked very well. So you can play the I'm just getting started card. And most people love to help others who are just starting out. So you can ask them if they have any advice or tips that they could share with you. And you may even find somebody who will mentor you, or find another person who's new in a related business, and you can set up a collaboration or an accountability relationship. And that's how my partner and I got started. It was at a virtual networking event. And because we started the conversation, we ended up partnering in business. So you just never know who you're going to meet. So the fourth thing that every time you go to a networking event you want to do is, after you've talked to somebody, if you're resonating with them or you feel like they might be a potential client for you, then ask to connect with them. So ask them if they're active on social media. If you're at an event outside of Facebook, you want to find out like what's their social media of platform of preference. Some people are on LinkedIn more. Some people are on Facebook. Some people are using Instagram. So find out which one. Where do they hang out the most? And if you had an especially valuable connection with them, ask to set up a 15-minute chat to get to know them better and see if they'd be willing to help you with market research by answering a few questions on a phone call or a Zoom meeting. And that's a great way to get introduced to somebody. So have a way for them to set that up. I use Calendly, and I have a little snippet that I can just pop into a chat box, or I can put it in, when you're actually talking to somebody like on Zoom, for example, there's a chat that you can send to people. So you can just pop that in there and then let them schedule a time to do like a 15 or 20 minute, chat with you. And that way you guys can take it off. Because a lot of times there's not enough time in the networking event itself to really, to go deeper. And your goal here is to kind of weed through the people you talk to and only connect with the people that you really resonate with, because you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking to people that it may not go very far outside of the event. And during the event, take notes as you can, but be sure to pay attention to the person that you're talking to primarily. So, if you're good at watching the screen and typing without looking at the keyboard, you can have a Word document open and you can be typing notes as they talk. The sixth step in this is to always schedule at least 15 minutes after the event to do a debrief, and do that while everything is fresh in your mind. You want to, a lot of times, if you get to these network events, especially if they're longer, as soon as it's over and you're out, you want to get up and stretch and go get a drink and or maybe run off to the next thing that you need to do that day. And yeah, for sure, get up and stretch, but also get back within 5 to 10 minutes and sit down before you do anything else. Get all those, fill in the notes you've already taken, and put on there and star. Like I like to star or use a highlighter for action items like, connect with Cindy, or send her my calendar link, something like that. So sometimes they're just notes about the people, but if there's something you want to do to follow up, then highlight or star those and then immediately get them onto your planner, or your action tracker or calendar. Then you want to keep track of everybody that you connected with that you want to do follow-up actions with. So and write out what it is you're going to do. You can either connect on social media with them, send them a calendar link, send them an email, however, it's going to be best for you to connect with them. And make a note of the questions you asked them already, and their answers. You don't need a full transcript, but you need to at least have something to jog your memory so that when you get back to them, you can say, it was great to meet you at that networking event. How's your son doing with his college prep exams? Just one. You only need one thing, and if you tell them that one thing, once you get back to them, you'll be shocked. Like they will be like, "Whoa! I can't believe that they remembered that detail about me." And that's what makes them remember you and makes them, really want to get to know you better too, and to even do business with you. Now, the other thing is to make note of questions that you felt were really effective. Sometimes we ask questions and they kind of fall flat, and then some really get people talking. So make a note of those for next time so you know which ones were the best questions to ask. And you will learn so much by putting together questions that help you understand what people want and need in relation to your business. So even if this is not the ideal prospect for you, or maybe they are, but they just aren't interested right now, there's always the future. Being in business, it's a long game, and you want to make these connections, because even if it's not right now, it doesn't mean it won't be right for them next month. And by you can also get the language that people are saying. So if you help solve a problem, like if I help women start and grow a profitable business once they're past the age of 40 or so. So if I'm in a group with those kinds of women, and I ask questions about, what's your biggest challenge in starting your business, that kind of question gives me invaluable feedback so that I know exactly what their challenges are, because there can be a lot of them, right? We have a lot of challenges when we're trying to, build our businesses. So, those that kind of info is gold for you in knowing how to position yourself, what your marketing and content messaging should say. Now, the fortune is in the follow up. And so we went through the 6 points, but I just want to add this one thing in here. There are too many business owners that are not consistent, or they give up or simply get busy and forget after once or twice. And statistics show us that a person needs anywhere from 6 to 12 touch points for them to actually buy your service or get into a business relationship with you. So, two simple things will make you successful at networking. One is being organized with a system for your contacts. And then the second is blocking the time on a consistent basis to follow up. Now, you remember when I first said in the beginning that it was important to keep in mind quality over quantity. And this is what I'm talking about. You're better off with 5 contacts that you can manage and maintain consistent contact with. Now, I'm not talking about every day. I'm just talking about, being able to touch base with them once a month, send a quick message, send an email, those types of things. But if you consistently do that, then you're going to have so much more success. It's so much better than the hit and run method, where you message them once or twice and then it all falls off and you don't get back to them again. So be sure that you're only doing what you can manage and keep it organized. You can use a simple spreadsheet, and that's what I do. You just simply put a spreadsheet there with their name, the date that you had the networking event, where it was, a few key points, and then put the next time you want to contact them. Could be a week out, 2 weeks out. And if you just use that simple spreadsheet and every time you talk with them, you can even put your notes there, then you'll be so organized and you'll see exactly, you can sort it in order of date and you can very easily keep up with everybody that way. Now, here, I'm going to give you some follow up ideas too, like how to follow up with your contacts. So when you're reviewing your contacts from these networking events that you've been to, then you can see if you can match someone up with them that from your network, and let them know you referred someone to them. So let's say it's somebody who's not really your ideal client, but you might know somebody in your network that is an ideal client for them, and you could refer that person to them. And when you're doing that, you're building up serious social currency with them. Okay. You can also send them information or articles that you find that may be of interest to them. So, when I meet somebody who's maybe they're a business coach, I'm a business coach, but maybe they specialize in helping moms with young children. Okay, that's not my ideal client. But if I know a mom with young children and they're having a specific, they're having trouble, managing the kids and their work at home job and their productivities and organizations out the window. But I know that Susie over here, that's her specialty. She's got a course and she can help them with that. So if I refer Susie to them, I say, hey, there's a person, I know Susie, and sounds to me, as far as I know, Susie could really use your help. So, I'm gonna send her your way, and then I give Susie the contact information, and that way Susie can reach out. So, not only have you built up social currency with the person that you connected with on the networking event, but you also built up social currency with Susie, because again, you never know who knows who. So this is relationship marketing. You just continue to build relationships with people, and you do it from the point of view of serving, and not what can you get out of it, but what can you help give other people. And if you always maintain that mindset, people will be drawn to you. You won't have to chase clients. You won't have to come up with the latest, greatest strategy to get people to join your thing. You will just naturally begin to attract people, and people will remember you and they will refer to you. And I know that this works because I've been doing this for several years now, and I am still getting people sent to me or attracted to me from contact 3 years ago. So it really does work, and it's very powerful. So today we went over the power of adding networking events into your monthly marketing plan and the 6 best practices. And remember, the fortune is in the follow-up, and that keeping your contacts information organized with the next date to follow up is the key to establishing a powerful network of contacts, prospects, and referral partners. And remember, next Tuesday, January 26th, the Empire of Unstoppable Women will be hosting a speed networking event inside the group, and you'll have the opportunity to network with other women, get some speed coaching tips. And on Saturdays, we host Spotlight Saturday, where you can have the opportunity to share about your business via live video inside the group. And all of this is designed to get you comfortable with the process of virtual networking. So if you're a woman over 40 and you're starting or growing your business, I invite you to join us, and I'll put the link below. Join us in our group. We also have live training every Tuesday, and these are on all the business best practices that you need to be a successful entrepreneur. So if anybody has any questions, we have a few more minutes left. And I'm going to attempt to find our video here in this group. It's a very busy group. So just bear with me while I look for, see if I can find our live here and see if anybody has any questions. Okay. All right, so I don't see any right now, but if you guys are watching the replay, then please put your comments below this video, and I'll see those in my notifications, and I'll be happy to answer them inside the group for you. And I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching this video here with me, and I invite you to join us. Just come check it out. If it's not the right group for you, no worries. You can pop in, check it out, look around, and pop back out again. So thank you so much, and I'm wishing you all the success in the world.